So, do you know what the #1 strategy is for taking more listings? It's by far the just sold script. What this means is that you've sold a property or your company has sold a property and you're going to use that closed listing to call around or door knock the neighbors and let them know you've sold this property and you still are working with buyers that are interested in purchasing in their area that you would like to see if they have any interest in selling themselves. Now, there's so many layers to this, and I'm going to take you through some basic things, and at the very end, I'm going to take you through the actual script I use. I'm going to give you a script, and then I'm going to talk about how that script develops over time once you make it your own, and I think it'll really tie this all together. If you haven't already, make sure you ring the bell so you get all of our latest videos. Subscribe to the station or the channel. If you have any feedback or comments, make sure you leave those below. I'd love to hear them. And for all of our coaching products, visit us at brendanbardick.com. So let's talk about why it works. So when we think about that script, the reason that it worked is because you're basically saying, hey, I've already sold a property in your neighborhood or my company. We use we a lot, right? You don't have to use you as long as it was your company or you get the permission from another agent and say, we sold this property and we are still working with people that are looking in your area. Do you need to sell? So let's talk about it. I'm going to go through some pro tips here, and I'm going to take the script right out of our script book, which you can get at brendanbardick.com. So here's what the script sounds like in real time, and then I'm going to give you some pro tips. You're going to pick up the phone. You first might be asking, where do I get these phone numbers? How do I know who to call? Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. Either you partner with a company like the Red X, and we'll put a link below where you can get a discount for that, and they're going to give you what we call market neighborhood research. You would take your just sold, this is if you want to use a paid version, you would pick the address of that just sold, or get that address of that just sold, and then run a radius around all of the other properties in that area. You could do map, you could do a certain distance, but you want to take that property and then call other similar homes in that area around it so that you can talk to sellers and say, I just sold this home, but I'm curious if you want to sell yours because I have buyers for it. So if you want to do it for free, you can also do this. It's just going to take a lot more effort. So two free options. Number one, you can use TruePeopleSearch.com, 411.com, and take the address of the property, do a reverse address search, but then you'd have to go one by one to try to get every phone number of the surrounding addresses. The second free way is to take this just sold and just go to the neighborhood and knock the doors to the left, right, back in front of that house using this exact script, except pretending you're at the front door. So that's the easiest way to do that. Let's talk about it. You've got your phone numbers. You've got a list of 100 houses that are in the surrounding area of the house that you just sold personally, that your company's just sold. And you're going to call up and say, hi. And of course, obey all of the do not call list, disclaimer, do whatever is allowed in your local area. If you make calls and you're not supposed to, or you can't solicit the people, do not do it. Don't do any of that. Make sure you're doing all the legal things. Now remember, when they answer, pro tip here, call them by their first name if possible. Don't be like, hi, I was looking for Mr. Smith or Mrs. Johnson. Well, if you do that, then the people are going to be like, oh, cold caller, solicitor, click. They're going to immediately get defensive, and you don't want to do that. What you want to do is call up and say, hi, I'm looking for Susan. Hi, Susan, my name is, and then state your name with your company. And it says right here in the script, you can go get this at brendanbardick.com, XYZ company. I just sold the home, or we just sold the home at 123 Elm Street. I always use next a recognizable landmark. And this shows it in the script right by the Cimarron Elementary, right by the Super Target. So what recognizable landmarks, so they go, oh, he's talking about my actual area. And I was working with several buyers who are extremely interested in your area that missed out on this property. So I was checking to see if you or anyone you know might be interested in selling. You got to get really smooth at that intro, internalize it, memorize it. Hi, I'm looking for Susan. Hi, Susan, this is Brendan with XYZ Real Estate Company. Hey, I just sold the property at 123 Elm Street, right by the Super Target, and I was calling because I'm working with a lot of interested buyers that missed out on that opportunity that are still interested in purchasing, and I was calling you to see if you or anyone you know might have interest in selling. See that energy? You got to almost bounce on your toes. You got to be really pumped into it. The more enthusiasm you have on the phone, the more likely they're going to want to connect with you, help you, and not hang up on you. We have to understand, first of all, this call is going to be a numbers game. So we just asked a question. Do they have any interest in selling? Not a lot of people are going to have immediate interest in selling, but there will be people that have interest in selling. It's just a numbers game. We have found that that number is about 75 to 1. Ooh, Britton, I gotta talk to 75 people to take one listing? I mean, your life could be a lot worse. That's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard anyone say. If you're thinking to yourself, yeah, talk to 75 people for every listing you take to make $10,000, $7,500, $5,000, $20,000. Divide 75 people by 5 days. Is it still that tough? Divide 75 people if your goal is just to take one extra listing a month by 20 working business days. Now, if you're really good at this script, your conversion will be a lot less. It could be 50, 40, 30. If you're brand new to this, it might be 100. But we found on the average, it's about 75. That means you're going to expect 74 no's to get to one yes. Some of those no's are not going to be not now, they're going to be in the future. So we're trying to find people and building our database that go, hey, I'm not really maybe ready now, but maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, when little Johnny graduates high school, when I retire, blah, blah, blah. And you're updating your database. Let's just say in the script, hypothetically, it says right here, they're going to say no. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to think about it, Susan. Let me ask this. If you were to move, where would you go next? This phrasing is hyper important because it has to continue the conversation. It's not, would you think about moving at some time in the future? They can say yes or no. It's, I appreciate you taking the time to think about this, Susan. Let me ask if you were to move, where would you go next? Oh, I don't know. We always wanted to go to Florida. Oh, Florida. Great. And if it was the perfect situation, when would that be? Well, when blah, blah, blah happens. Graduation, job transfer, this. I retire, all of that. Wow, that's exciting. Update the database and call when it's appropriate. I would put that call and I would go, that's wonderful, okay? If they say, we're never moving, we love it here. Well, that's great. Have you ever considered building wealth through real estate? What do you mean? Well, do you own any rental properties? No. Oh, you don't? Oh my gosh. Well, every single month I put on a free informational webinar you can join via Zoom to explain exactly how easy it is to build wealth through real estate and purchase your first investment property. Are you available? Blah, blah, blah. What's the best email address so I can send you that invite? See how this is very conversational? Now, if they own investment properties, oh my gosh, excellent. How many properties do you own? Well, 3 or 4. Oh, wonderful. And when was the last time you had a free market analysis so you know exactly how much equity you have in each property? I guess it's been a while. You know what, Susan? I'd love to send that over to you. What's the address of the first property? You're providing value. So I always tell them, there's no commitment here. I just do this for all my clients, and I'm here as a resource for you. Well, you know what? Maybe they say yes to it, maybe they don't. No, I don't want that, Brendan. That's fine. All right. Well, the last thing I do, Susan, is I provide a really amazing market report that I send out to all of the neighbors in the area. It has all the data, the latest actives, pendings, under contracts, closed, price per square foot, all this great information. Would you like to receive that by email or regular mail? Think about how powerful. Everything an option, nothing is a yes or no. 9 out of 10 times they're going to say email because they don't want to have any more mail come to their actual physical address. What we just heard there was check downs. If you were to move, where would you go next? Do you own any investment properties, or would you like to build wealth through real estate? I put out an amazing market report. Do you want that by direct mail or regular mail? This is the power of the just sold call and why it's so lucrative if you can get this really smooth. The first couple times you're gonna blah, hang up. It's gonna be terrible. Or if you're at the front door of their house, right? It can become more and more tricky. But that's not what we're concerned about. This is a numbers game. You know, for every no, it's about to become another yes. And if you get the numbers down, you get your follow-up down. And then remember what I talked about with updating that database? You're typing in their follow-up. You're gonna build this pipeline of sellers that are just going to be able to start cashing out in the future. How do you get started again? Let's recap it. Number 1, you need the script. Number 2, you got to practice the script a lot. We have role play every single Monday and Thursday live for the entire country to join us. Go to our coaching page, Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching, get the Zoom link, join us there so you can sharpen your blade on how to get this out correctly. And then number 3, master your check down on what you're offering. If you don't want to do a webinar and do that, then you don't have to. You could just ask the question if they own any investment properties and if they would like to meet about buying their first investment property. I like to do a webinar because I'm trying to capture email addresses. Every call, my goal is to capture an email address, because if I capture an email address, I can continue marketing to you, and eventually you'll do something with me or find some sort of value to become a part of my tribe. That's all we're trying to do, is build people into our tribe. Relationships by providing value, value, value. That's the power of this wonderful script. And then lastly, as we said before, go to brendanbardick.com. Make sure that you get all this information. Join us on the Facebook page. Subscribe to all of our additional videos. And as always, I wish you great success.